So, hello everybody, and on the bench today we have my Keithley 2015 THD multimeter, and the problem with these meters is that after many years of use the vacuum fluorescent displays get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and eventually wear out altogether. And that's the problem I've got on this one. And also I have problems with spurious segments that light up occasionally, usually commas, and I think that might be that comma there shouldn't be there. And it doesn't, sometimes if you put it to different selection you don't get any spurious commas come on, but whatever. I've had this apart a few times and trying to find a solution to the dim display, and one thing I did try was increasing the heater current on the vacuum fluorescent. I'm not sure if it really made much difference, but it's still pretty poor, and it's difficult to read at a distance. So I got a comment recently on one of the videos I did on this meter a couple of years ago. I think I did the videos, and he said there's now an LED replacement display available for this meter. And much to my surprise, after a bit of research, I found it. And it's the same guy who made, or is still making, replacement LED displays for my HP frequency counter, which is, I'll show you. So that's the new display in the frequency counter, which I replaced, I think, in last January roughly. Anyway, the story of that one was I bought this display for the frequency counter and off eBay from this guy in Florida, or this company in Florida, and he must have seen, he saw my video, and he sent me a message saying, as a token of my appreciation, I'm going to give you a full refund for doing that video, replacement video. So anyway, getting back to this one. So I had a good look around, and sure enough it was the same guy making these LED replacement displays, and they were on eBay for £100 roughly, or best offer. So I sent him a message saying, you may remember me, I did the last video on the HP display and you refunded me. What would be a reasonable offer for me to make another video replacing this display on the Keithley? So I got a message back very quickly, and he said, pay me and I'll refund you straight away, which is exactly what he did within a couple of hours, which is very good of him. I got a full refund, even the postage, which was excellent. Postage was about £13, not too bad, but whatever. But problem with eBay is they're only too happy to take your money off you, but when you get a refund, I've got to wait 3, 4, 5 days to get that money back. Not a problem really. But what bothers me more than anything about doing this replacement is the new display is slightly wider than this one, so some of the characters are going to be further over, in other words, all digits, and there's black paint covering part of the bezel, lens, whatever you want to call it. And you have to remove about 10 millimeters on each side of the black paint. Now, that sounds like a fairly traumatic process, and you have to use special nail polish remover, not pure acetone. So I've ordered some of this stuff called Zoya, and also painter's tape to mask off the area you're going to work on. But I should be full of anxiety doing that, because you only get one chance. Otherwise you're going to ruin the bezel, or the potential for doing that. But as I'm not going to get a display probably for a couple of weeks, I'm probably going to do it in reverse order as to what is suggested. I'm going to do the paint removal first, because I'll get this removal, nail polish removal stuff within a few days. And then I can worry about putting the display in later. I can also do that process of paint removal in the house and take my time overdoing it, because it's fairly cold out in the workshop. Although I could put some heating on if I really want to. And my friend Joe in Colorado keeps telling me to move the workshop in the house. Well, that's never going to happen. I couldn't stand the chaos in the house of this messy workshop. I'd rather suffer the freezing cold out here. So now I'm going to go inside and show you the eBay listing. And there's a PDF you can download from that eBay listing. It gives you the instructions. So yeah, so that's about it really. Let's go inside and look at the computer. Okay, so that's the eBay UK listing, and it's, well, £100 or best offer. Probably cheaper in America, but whatever. And $17.95 postage. And that's the display, new display. That's how it fits on the circuit board. You have to take the old one off, obviously, which can be difficult, but whatever. That's what it looks like. I think it looks quite good. And do you want to see any more pictures? Not really. Okay, I'll get onto this later, because where's the description gone? There we are. There's a PDF you can download on how to do the display swap. So I'm going to close that one down, and here we have the instructions, which are very comprehensive and very well written. And if you go wrong, it's only because of your mistake, not because of the person who's written all this, because it's very well written, as it was for the HP. And I'm sure I'll get a copy of this with the actual display printed, as I did with the last one I did for the HP. So it just tells you how to take the meter apart. It's fairly straightforward. You got to remove the display, and you should be left with that. It's stuck on with double-sided tape, the old display. You've got to heat it up. All the holes are through-hole plated. That might be difficult. Sometimes it's easier to cut the pins off and then remove what's left behind. Then you have to install the new display and wire it up, power supply off, for the display comes off there. And whatever. Now is the bit I'm not looking forward to at all. And it's obviously highlighted in red here, because if you don't do it right, you're going to ruin your bezel, lens, whatever you call it. And yeah, painter's tape you need, Zoya Remove 3-in-1 nail polish remover, and plastic polish. Well, I haven't got any plastic polish. I'm not going to buy any plastic polish. That's to polish the whatever, the bezel when you've removed the paint. And I'll probably use, see how I get on with Brasso to do that. Here we are, this is highlighted, very important. Do not use 100% acetone nail polish remover. As he's probably found out the hard way, that you're going to ruin the plastic with acetone. So you have to use this oil stuff, which I've ordered. I've ordered 60 millilitres. I hope that's going to be enough. Doesn't sound much, does it? 60 millilitres. And yeah, you got to mask it off. This is what you got to remove. This bit here, 10 millimeters each side, and masked off with tape. And it says it takes well, you're going to need 20 cotton swabs to clean both sides, and numerous Q-tips. I think something like, I don't know, 20 or 30, and then it should turn out looking like that eventually. Congratulations. Well, that's a bit premature yet, but whatever. So, as I said, because it's quite cold in the workshop, I can do this process in here, right next to my computer. I've got plenty of space on this table, and I can just take my time. Don't have to rush into anything, do I? Although you only got a certain amount of time to do this, because the acetone product, it was going to go a bit odd, isn't it, after a while? Oh yeah, you can clean the rubber keypad if you want. I think I've done that already before. So that's about it until I get the nail polish remover and I disassemble the meter. See you in the next bit. Okay, so I think really the best thing to do now is just start taking this apart in preparation. I can see what I'm up against. I'm not sure how much I'll film because I think I did this before, but I know this thing has to come out. It's a ferrite clip. Ferrite bead, I mean, held in with clips. Okay, well that doesn't come out like that. So what we need to do is get the wires off the terminals. If you want to watch a good video of somebody taking one of these apart, Ian Scott Johnson did one where he replaced his display with another vacuum fluorescent, and that was quite a long time ago. He did that and I watched it recently, so I could acquaint myself with it. Does that need to come out at all? I don't know if it does or not. He did on his. Well, it's come out anyway, and I'll get rid of that. And the other main thing to do is the ribbon cable that goes to the front panel. Which pulls out quite easily, and it's clipped in there, that's fine. Oh yeah, you've got to do something horrible with the fuse holder. Well, the current fuse. Well, I can't remember what you got to do with it. That's the problem. I think you have to push it through, push the wire through. Everything's in the way, like this. Well, I've given up on the fuse, but I know you have to unclip these now. And the same on the other side. It's a bit medieval, but you get there eventually. Also, the fuse holder is quite happy where it is. All the wire. Okay, you've got a bit of whatever on there, but now these things that hold the board in. I'm trying to remember how they work. Well, I'm just going to apply maximum force and see what happens. There's a button there as well. I'm going to have to consult a manual to find out. Well, I didn't consult a manual, I just prodded it, and eventually you find out you've got little tabs that clip in, and then that pulls off. And this one does the same. That goes on like that. It's strange, isn't it? I mean, it's 2 years since I've had this apart, and I've completely forgotten how to do it. Anyway, that came out fairly easily. And now we see what we're up against. And that's the, I don't know if you can see in there, but there's the pins that have to be desoldered on the back. And you can also see the resistors I added, which I will remove, because there's no point in them being there, as it's not going to have a vacuum fluorescent anymore. And but what is more intriguing is the bezel, and that's what I've got to tackle when I get the nail varnish remover, which is not going to be easy because I've got a wire attached. So I'm going to have to do something about that after all, because I want to take this whole thing inside without the rest of it, front panel without the rest. Okay, I'll get the wire off. So here we are again, and it isn't that difficult to get the fuse holder out. Spring and the fuse contact, it comes out that way. So as you can see, I've made some progress. This stuff turned up today. That's the Zoya remove 3-in-1 remove plus, and also masking tape. And as you can see, I've gone ahead and laid that out on both sides, at giving 10mm of paint that needs to come off. And it's very important to get that as flat as possible with no little bubbles. Otherwise the whatever it's called will leak underneath. I'm sorry about the lighting, but it's the best I can do. There's a reflection of the light I can see. Perhaps it's better if I hold it like that. But I've just been going along here and just squeezing the tape down as well as I can. And I don't think I needed special tape. I probably could have used insulation tape, although that might have melted. Who knows? It wasn't expensive and it'll come in handy for something else. But as it's getting late in the day and I'm in a severe state of anxiety over the next bit, I think I'm going to leave it till tomorrow when I've got an earlier start. So until then, catch you in the next bit. Okay, I'm going to have a go at this paint removal, and this is not my drink. I poured some of this stuff in the glass because I don't want to risk knocking this over. And it says use cotton swabs to apply, but I'm going to try a little paintbrush and cotton buds. So let's just apply some of this, see what happens. Now I'm supposed to leave it for about a minute. Okay, let's see what happens now. One thing I'm noticing, that dries very, very quickly. So on the left hand side first. Hey, it's coming off, I can see. Right, I'm getting the hang of this. Yeah, he says you got to make sure it's kept wet. It's evaporating quite quickly. Use medium pressure is suggested. This could all go hideously wrong, you realise that? Well, I'm going to just continue doing this for a while and see what happens. Well, it's come out fairly well, and there's still a little bit on there and the top, and it's taken away somewhere it shouldn't have done because it's sort of seeped underneath the well, no, there is an exposed bit of paint here. But it's going to need a bit of polishing after I've done the other side, because it has left it a bit cloudy. But it did go fairly well and fairly quickly, and I was worrying I wouldn't have enough of this stuff, 60ml. I think it's going to be more than enough to spare. So I'm going to do the other side, and then I'll see what I'll do about polishing it all up. Well, I've done both sides, and it's okay. Doesn't look as quite as good as the one in the picture, but maybe he's done a few. And he said it takes 30 to 30 minutes. I think it's probably taken me 10. and you got to be fairly quick because this stuff keeps evaporating. The temptation is to keep putting more and more and more on, but then it's going to start attacking the plastic, which it has done, or the acrylic, and that's where the next stage comes in, is to remove the masking tape. That's not good, is it? It's leaked right underneath, but hasn't damaged the paint where it's got in there. But the next stage really is a bit of polishing, which is going to be a long, slow, tedious job. And I'm going to try using Bezel rather than plastic polish, because I've used that before and it's worked fairly well on fine scratches. And I don't think it's going to be too bad once it's in the meter, because the meter is completely dark inside anyway. It's only when you hold it up to the light that you can see the imperfections. So that's it. I'm going to have a go at polishing it. Hello again. So I polished it up with Bezel on the inside. It's not perfect, but there are quite a lot of scratches anyway on the front panel, which are quite deep. And any polishing on that's going to take the name off and model. But I'll see how bad it looks when the new display goes in, and I can always revisit the polishing later. But while I'm still waiting for my new display, I thought maybe I should tackle the desoldering of the old one, which I'm really not looking forward to, with my horrible solder pump over there. It's never been the best. It constantly blocks up, but we shall see what happens. And I've already started without you as the bishop said to the actress, and that one is there. I need a pointer really, and I haven't got one as usual. So I've done one of them and it is moving, so one would assume that it's not still soldered, hopefully, at some point further up. So I'm not going to film all this because it's just too tedious, and my videos are going to get, this video is going to get enormously long, but we'll see how we get on anyway with a couple of them. And it's really hard when you've got a camera in front of you as well to do this job. Okay, well let's try one. I think that actually worked. It's really hard as usual because I've got a camera in front of me. Well, I'll inspect that later. So I'm going to continue now and do the rest of them. Okay, well, I had a bit of a mishap here. Not with the board, but with my audio. The microphone wasn't turned on, so you missed what I did. But I got all these unsoldered without any problems. The solder sucker, which I've been abusing since I've had it, I mean being abusive to it and swearing at it, as you do, performed absolutely perfectly. It didn't block up once. so I apologise to it. But I did give it a new filter in the, like a fibre filter in the garden part today. So, much to my surprise, well, some of them didn't come good the first time. I had to reapply solder and then give them another suck, because I was testing them by bending them to see if they were loose. Then, much to my surprise, the bloody thing falls out, doesn't it? It shows you how good a job I did. Look at that. That's the old display. Just fell out. And this load of crap was behind it. Let's zoom back a bit. This is a double-sided tape, which is horrible and sticky and nasty. And you were supposed to heat this up with hot air at the back of the board to soften the tape. Well, mine didn't need that. It was ready and waiting for me to produce a sticky mess everywhere. Let me turn this off now. Don't need that. Now it's done its job. But what I need to do now is to go in and inspect thoroughly all those holes and traces, because they're very thin. Make sure there's no damage. And clean all this crap off as well. But I won't bother you with all that, because this video is getting rather long. And maybe when you next see me, the next part will be when the display arrives. At present, when I last saw it, it was taking a short break in Illinois, having been to Indiana from Florida, and it seems to be going the wrong direction, really, but I'm sure they know what they're doing. Anyway, catch you in the next part. So, my new display has arrived last night. Took about roughly 10 days from Florida, so not too bad. Anyway, let's take it out and have a look. And it looks all very nice, but we shall see when we light it up. Now, of course, apart from getting this, you get a whole list of instructions, which of course I've already read. But the most useful thing for me in this case is not to have to refer back to the computer to see where you connect the positive and negative wires from the display across that capacitor. So that's all good, and I'm not going to go through all this because I've seen it all before. So let's put this to one side. And one thing that intrigued me is the fact that, of course, I had to take that paint off, didn't I, on the display, because this one's supposed to be wider. So let's have a look at the two together. And yes, I can see some differences. Whereas we've got all these symbols down here and various whatever they are down there, which are a fair bit further left and right than they are on the old one, which they're down there. And it also looks like I've got bigger digits, which is another advantage, because I'd always thought that the digits on this were a little bit small, so nice to have some bigger digits. Okay, so what's the next step? We could try it into the board, put that away again. Oh, another nice touch, he's put some double-sided pads, sticky pads on there to stick it down. I'd already got some sticky foam I was going to use, but I don't need to do that now. So I'm just going to try it and see how it fits on the board. Really careful with these wires. Yeah, it fits perfectly. absolutely perfect. All ready to be stuck down and soldered, I guess. So that'll be the next job. Routing the wires is slightly, well, it's fairly careful. That's got to go to the negative on the capacitor on that side, and this one has to go around the chip and to the other side of the capacitor, but that's no problem. So that's what I'll do next, is solder it in. After the workshop has warmed up a bit, I've got the heater turned on, but not been on long, and it is at present 11.6 centigrade, which is roughly 52 Fahrenheit in here. So I'll leave it a bit longer, let it warm up a bit more. Okay, so I think it's time to remove these pieces of whatever off the sticky pads, and carefully align the pins, making sure the wires are okay, and then squeeze it down, and that is pretty firmly in place. Yes, that's not going anywhere. Right, so I'll do the soldering of the pins, I guess. Don't think you're going to want to see me doing all these pins, but I'll do a couple. Find it's usually best to start with the two extremes of the number of pins. Okay, so that holds it all in place basically, except of course the sticky pads are holding it down. So I just go and solder the rest of them. So all the pins are done, all 34 of them, and I've inspected them and they all look pretty good to me. And I've also done the power wires, which are a little bit tricky because you don't want to bend this ribbon cable, which has got an acute bend in it already. So what I did was I stuck it down on the bench there, and then I could not worry too much about the ribbon cable while putting pressure on the wires and whatever and doing that. So I've got negatives over there and positives over there. I better inspect that to make sure there's no shorts. Okay, so I've plugged the ribbon cable back in from the display board, and I think it's time to risk a power up. I haven't clipped the board in properly. I've just in case it needs to come in, back out again. Well, it's bright enough, isn't it? Ah, but I can see the problem. That hasn't changed. If I can slow this down a bit. That's on slow update. I've still got my miscellaneous commas, which is slightly annoying. Let's try resistance. Yeah, so they weren't too visible before, but because I've now got a brighter display, they are. And I know for certain it's not the new LED display, it's something else. And whether I'll ever find out what it is, I don't know. Let's try AC, because the board's not pushed in properly. It's dodgy. Yeah, I got all those commas, which are really annoying. But I'm not complaining too much. At least I got a better display on it, if I can live with those commas. But if anybody's got any ideas what could be causing that, please let me know. I'm wondering if it's the if I can turn this over. Oh, you can't see the chips. Anyway, let me take it back out again. So I'm wondering if it's one of these chips is faulty, but I have absolutely no idea what they are, or well, I know what they do roughly. They obviously decode serial data, and then it does what it does to display and whatever, demultiplexing and multiplexing, and that's as far as I know. My level of digital is limited. It's TTL and CMOS. That's about as far as I want to get involved with more complicated stuff. But it is what it is. At least it's brighter than it was. So I'm just going to put it all back together. Okay, all back together. Probe's wired up. 10 volts going into it. And those commas are doing my head in. But you can read it, 9.99462. Just I wish those commas weren't there. I don't know. What are we going to do? At least it's nice and bright. What shall I do with it now? Let's measure some amps. DC amps. I think this is set to 120 milliamps. Current limit. 124. Yeah, you see, commas don't turn up on the amps. One of the ranges you don't use very much, because you've probably been measuring voltage mostly, and you haven't got any silly commas. Oh, by the way, that socket, if you're wondering, this does THD, of course, and that socket is from the back, where there's a signal generator output of low distortion for when you're doing THD measurements. Right, let's try it on resistance and see what it thinks of that. I'll know what I'll do with it. I'll use it as an ammeter, then I've got no problems. Right, 2-wire resistance, and this is a 560 ohm. 555 point whatever, 556. Actually, all the commas have gone. Isn't that odd? That's a weird one, that. I wonder what happens if you do measuring me. Medium update. Let's try slow update. .0. I'm measuring me, by the way. Something like 3 megohms, whatever, but no silly commas. Let's try dead short. 0.14. So it's okay, apart from DC volts. Oh, wrong one. DC volts and AC volts. That's most odd, isn't it? It's way beyond the capacity of my puny little intelligence to understand why it does that. But I'm just going to put it back where it lives now. We'll have one more look at it. So that's where it lives normally, next to the HP 34401A. And which do I like best, apart from the silly commas? I think I like the Keithley best. It's got bigger digits now. And do they agree? More or less. I'm not after absolute accuracy anyway, and they haven't been calibrated for hundreds of years probably, these meters. Okay, well, I think it was very successful. I'm just a bit saddened that I've still got miscellaneous commas, but it's a lovely little replacement display, I'll say that for it. So I've got to say thanks to Mitt, who makes these in Florida, for giving me one for free. And I will put some links in the description if you want to buy one. eBay links, and I think he also has a shop. So check that out, and thanks for watching.